3, 2, 1. Okay, that's a better clap. We do that for sound, people. We do that so our editor, Bo, can get the sound.
Can cut everything we've been saying for the last hour sitting in the bean bags. That was just kind of foreplay for the whole thing.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking about something recently. I was like in the shower, as I do sometimes, and I was thinking about archaeologists. When they find my bones, they're going to be in the weirdest shape. They're going to be like, look at this shrimp man.
And in what world would archaeologists be looking for your bones?
I think they'd stumble across them.
They would somewhere.
In a field.
After they're buried in a field.
Shallow
in a rogue
creek.
field. Shallow creek.
Shallow creek.
Totally.
There's just no way this is going to be like good for us in the long run. Like, it's going to be funny when we get a back sponsor, like a PT sponsor.
I was just sitting the other day and my friend came up to me and she was like, posture check. I'm like, oh, we're doing that now. Okay.
Yeah,
she stabs me in the middle of the back. I like eject upward.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Let me just, there we go.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Oh my God.
Fully adjust. For those at home who don't know, this is a video podcast, whether you're on Spotify or YouTube. I don't think you can do it on Apple.
No video, but we film ourselves. It's kind of what we do.
Probably for the best.
If you want to watch, we did get all dressed up. I do wish sometimes that we could just kind of remote in from Zoom, look like crap.
I know.
That's okay.
I mean, you try a lot harder looking good than I do.
You said we tried full
it.
Glam. Yeah, you're like, I didn't even shave.
I put my golden goose on.
Actually, yeah, you did. You did put your golden geese on, and I did flame you for it. What'd you do this weekend?
What did I do this weekend? Oh, it was sick. So I had the flu.
Love that.
So I was like sleeping.
Super sick.
I was whining. I actually find the best medicine is just bitching.
You are such a whiner.
I just...
You're such a little boy needing just constant assistance.
Yeah. No, the truth is I just whine to anyone who will listen. I actually don't want anyone near me.
Okay.
Like Becca, she wants to be taken care of. She wants me to like be in her presence. And I'm like, this is not medicinally proven to be useful.
You want to be left alone. You want to quarantine. Quarantine happen. You're like, hell yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Put me in a black box alone.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean I won't whine. I'll still whine.
I went to Miami.
Miami.
And
how was it?
With some friends. So fun. I love Miami.
Pitbull. He was there.
He was there.
I
did see a guy who looked like him on the street. I'm like, there's ain't no way that's not him.
Yeah, of course. All bald guys look like Pitbull.
So what are we talking about today?
Well, first, let's just drop the music.
Demoted.
Okay, and now we're back.
Okay,
now that you guys just got to listen to
back.
that banger of a song.
Welcome to Demoted.
Demoted. Back again. Good to see everyone.
Good to see everyone. We're talking today about career shifts.
Yep. Changes, pivots, when to jump. You know, I think a lot of people think about that.
Today we're going to do career changes, talk about side hustle to full hustle. Yep. We reference the side hustle a lot. Ross and I both had them at one point. Mm-hmm. Now they are our full hustles.
We're going to do some Dear Demoted.
Dear Demoted are one of our new favorite segments.
Yeah, people have been sending us some really, really good stuff.
And just like genuine like questions and advice. I've been enjoying it a lot.
Well, it's hard because it's like, I like kind of want to respond in email. I'm like, oh shit, well here's what, and then I'm like, oh, well, you should probably talk about it on the pod.
Ross constantly wanting to give advice. We'll post like, give your college confessions, and Ross is already commenting on them. Like in the story, I'm like, Ross, can we save anything? Yeah. Can there be a sliver of excitement for the podcast?
I know.
You just get stoked. We'll then do promoted or demoted.
Yep.
Let's start about our like career shifts if we've had them. Have you? Yeah. What was your career trajectory? You're an old man, so there's like a lot of.
Yeah.
Probably jobs that you've had.
Yeah, back in the 20s, the roaring 20s, I was in the factory.
Totally. And then I wanted to work in textiles.
I was in the modern day factory, the modern day coal mine, otherwise known as SaaS sales.
Totally. Exactly. People draw a lot of similarities to that.
Ton of it.
Yeah. I see a lot of that online.
Yeah. I think we mentioned this before. I had no plan. So there wasn't like even a pivot. I just like kind of found myself in sales. And then I was trying to pivot my way out. And I'm not sure if I'm ready.
Are you still trying?
I'm still trying. I stay trying. I confess, full on confess. This will get me canceled for real. I was trying to pivot into marketing. Oh, wow. I know. Huge admish. For those who don't know, my whole shtick has been shitting on marketing and how they're worthless. And I still maintain that. You also, I mean, we can cut this, but don't you currently hold a marketing position at a company? Whoa.
And isn't that like a pretty executive marketing role that you hold currently?
I told them very specifically it couldn't be called marketing.
Okay. But technically.
Yeah.
You're sort of the CMO?
Yeah, technically.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to hold you to it, but your followers are going to lap that up.
Yeah. Well, I don't call it marketing. I call it indirect selling.
Okay.
My whole point about that was just that marketers need to spend 6 months in sales. Okay. That's it. And then fine, go market, go do whatever you want. Be like, sales is not for me. That's fine. Sales isn't for most people. It's not even really for me.
I was in marketing. That was one of my career pivots.
Dark, yeah.
And I loved it.
But it's great, yeah.
And we're both currently in marketing. I mean, we're content creators. We're marketing ourselves every day,
we're
right?
in direct selling.
So don't you dare try to say we're not. Don't you dare try to say we're not. So, okay, so you shifted. You worked in multiple different tech companies selling,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, like the thing is sales, the skill translates to across industries, across products, geographies, all that stuff. I wanted to go from the sales function into the marketing function. And I also, like, when that didn't work out, when it became evident that wasn't going to happen, that's why I ended up going to business school, because I was trying to pivot out.
And what else do? You have to go to business school.
Well, yeah.
To make that shift.
I just kept getting rejected. I was like, I got to do something different. I got to try and mix it up.
That's interesting.
What, I mean, you were in resilience and
business continuity, crisis management, and resilience.
I keep calling it strength and resilience. I'm like, gosh, she's so strong.
It's like
and
a workout class. Yeah. So I went into consulting, and I knew the pipeline of that is like you stay for 2 years and then you go to one of your clients, or you shift into industry. They like move into industry, as they call it. And I did make that jump. One of my clients I went to was a cybersecurity firm based in San Francisco, and I shifted from Deloitte to the cybersecurity firm, doing basically the same thing I was doing in-house for them on their in-house continuity and resilience team.
So this was the plan, though. You had this plan. This was like, I'm going to go do this for 2 years and I'll make that move.
Yeah, and not necessarily 2 years. I mean, I could have seen myself as a lifer at Deloitte, but I was the only way. I started getting frustrated with the structure and like, I can't make any more money. I have to go to senior consultant and then, whatever. Right. And it just didn't, I was frustrated by that. And I liked the allure of tech and having kind of like the carve your own path thing. So I like the flexibility of tech. And that was why I was excited to pivot there. And then in that company, I was in this crisis management resilience, which what I did, if anyone cares, is we would basically...
It sounds like something people care about.
We would simulate business disruptions to every business function and see how they would respond, and basically build a plan for like GCP's down and simultaneously Jira's down. How are you going to deal with this?
GCP is...
Google
Cloud
platform, yeah.
Provider platform, whatever. Google Cloud.
Basically, it's like
a cloud. You guys wouldn't get it.
And then you're like, where you store your code? Are you storing it like on your hard drive? Do you have your code elsewhere? Can you continue operating business as usual? One of our things we planned for was pandemic planning when I was at Deloitte.
People planned for that one?
Yeah, and the strategy was always work from home, like use the whatever.
This sounds like an inside job from Deloitte.
It's something that no one wants to do, right? Because you just want to like move forward and grow your business function and sell and like do these things. So me trying to tell someone like, we're going to do a crisis management exercise tomorrow.
Yeah.
Basically, we're going to simulate that a hurricane hits the Miami office. What happens then?
Yeah.
And like no one cares. But that was what I did. Then I moved into marketing when I started Corporate Natalie. So that was another pivot. And that was really interesting. I've told the story of how the CMO put time on my calendar, the CEO and the CMO put time on my calendar.
And you're like, I'm getting fired.
I was like, I'm getting fired.
Yeah.
And they're like, we want you in marketing. I think you have something to offer. Marketing a B2B.
And you're like, what makes you say that? The 500,000 followers I have or something else?
Marketing B2B cybersecurity didn't quite apply to the Corporate Natalie empire.
Yeah. They're like, do what you're doing, but make it extremely unfunny.
And just super technical.
Yeah.
So that was tough, but it was fun to like experience those different areas of the business.
Yeah. Did you feel like there was, I mean, obviously getting a note on your calendar where they're like, hey, maybe you should do this. Was there any sort of signs where you're like, maybe I'm done here and I want to...
In doing this same process that I did in consulting and did here, I'm like, why am I doing this? The only reason, I didn't join consulting. I'm like, your business continuity team, put me on that. It was like the sorting hat kind of placed me there.
Yeah.
And so it just felt like my career was being taken in this direction. Like I got all these certifications for business continuity professional and all these things. And like, I'm like, why am I going down this rabbit hole of whatever? And we would talk to the crisis comms teams when we'd have like
public comms team.
And I loved that. Like I loved like they were kind of more tied to marketing and kind of in
like
that
PR,
function,
right?
like more PR. And I was always like, I relate to these mostly women, honestly. Like I was working on a very male dominated team. I was like, I love these people. This seems more fun. So I was ready to make the jump for sure.
I mean, my next jump is retirement, hopefully.
Just diving right onto the golf course.
Into retirement.
Yeah, totally.
But we got a long way to go. So
retirement. We just started this. We can't stop pouring money into this podcast.
Oh,
please.
well, yeah, no. This goes without saying. I'm obviously going to keep doing it.
We obviously are going to whether
this is my retirement.
No matter what anyone says, we're going to keep doing it.
Yeah, when you keep getting paid negative thousands of dollars, it's
soon your kid will be here in the studio. We'll have the dogs, the kid. Yeah, it's going to be a lot.
The kid. Yeah. By the way, I don't have a kid
yet.
Right now, I don't have a kid.
Not yet. More macro.
Put that evil on me.
When do you that evil? When do you know it's time to change your career? Like what are the signs you would say?
For me, the biggest one was I felt as though I was no longer intellectually stimulated and growing. I felt like I could go sell for anyone, anywhere. Yes, I'd have to learn, a new industry or a new procurement process, a new product, those things. But the fundamentals were the same. And once you got ramped up, it was like, I was doing sales calls where I could be texting my friends and delivering my
demo,
doing a demo, just like with the same, animation, the same just charisma out there. You would have no idea I was just like droning on my phone.
And what age was this? Because I have friends now like 26, 27, my age, that are like definitely feeling this.
That's about when I started to feel it. I felt like an intellectual pull to be like, well, shit, maybe happiness matters.
Yeah.
And
you realize like a little bit, like, does everyone need what I'm selling?
Right.
Kind of like, no.
No, right. And we talked
definitely
about
don't need it.
Well, we talked about finding purpose in the previous episode. And I think it was a similar thing. I just felt like, I don't know, if I'm not growing, if I'm not being mentally stimulated, then it's time for me to figure out something else. And that's when I started saying, okay, what are the attributes I would, say make up who I am, and how can I align my next role with those things? And obviously creativity was a big one. So I was like, I would love to, switch into marketing. I was trying to do that at Glassdoor, and I was having meetings with the marketing team, and I was trying to figure out little projects I could take on the side to try and make that move.
And when you have a quota, that's, I'm sure, super easy to just like
do a side project and do corporate bro. It wasn't ideal, and it was a weird thing because you're like, you have to make it somewhat public. You're like, I'm trying to make this move. So you have to put it into the atmosphere. You have to put it into the world and tell people in the company, like, hey, I want to try and get in there. So they're also like, well, how are you going to do your other job at the same time? It's like, well, I don't want to keep doing that job. And that's why I'm talking to you in the first place. So it was kind of a weird dynamic, and it didn't work out. And I think when that didn't work out, not that they were stringing me along, but it was a long process of probably 6 to 8 months of me like, hey, so are there any roles open yet? Hey, like, how can I come in? Like, how can we make this happen? And then it kind of got squashed all together. And I was like, all right, business school time.
I think for me, it's like when you realize your worth, like you're outperforming your worth, and you're not getting compensated enough, or you're not valued.
Right.
Like I was at a Big Four consulting firm, and I'm like, how do I get an early promotion? Like I had heard of, distant rumblings of like, maybe this happens every once in a blue moon. And I'm of course being the overachiever. Like I want to get that early promotion.
Of course.
And I had a male boss say like, just stop trying so hard. It's not going to happen. There's nothing you can do. And like that, that mentality I refuse to believe, because there's a price for everything. Like you could tell me to sell $1 million project to one of our clients. Like I'll do it. Just give me a number. It could be completely unattainable.
Right.
Like tell me what to do.
Everything in life is negotiable.
Everything in life is negotiable. And it felt like it wasn't negotiable. And I felt like I was managing up. I was basically like, it felt like I was the other consultant on my level. She was kind of reporting to me. It felt like that.
Right.
But there was nothing I could do.
Well, that's just bureaucracy at its finest.
Totally.
Like there's nothing you can, they say there's nothing they can do, because that's true. They're like, I've got 7 people ahead of me. So, but it's like, if you're one-on-one with a CEO, you might be able to change it. But it's like, you're so stuck in this kind of middle area that like change is really hard to affect.
Totally. And I think tech offers a little more of that flexibility.
It does.
Than these like super structured companies that just, you're on that path forever.
It does. And one of the interesting things I've kind of found over the years is hard skill jobs aside, like coding. Like I could not go fake being an engineer today, but I could learn how to do 80% of jobs by just spending time in the role and sitting around and watching people do it and just seeing how it works.
Exposure therapy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's like people are like, oh, I'm not qualified. Oh, I can't do this. Yes, you can. You could.
Yeah.
You could.
Well, and now we're seeing job listings that are like, you need 6 years of experience in the industry. You need to be X, Y, Z. And it's like, really? Like literally no one has that.
Right.
I don't know how you're supposed to pivot into when those are the types of job listings,
Right.
But I agree with what you're saying. It's like anyone can do it.
Right. It's getting in. That's the hard part. Right. And I think tech companies a lot of them are flexible in that way. They're like, we just want smart people in roles. Like if you're a smart person and you're a driven person and you're resourceful, I think resourceful is probably the most important attribute of people in life, just to figure out how to find a way to get it done. You can do a lot of different jobs, whether it is marketing or HR or ops. I mean, ops is a little bit mathy at times, but most business roles, generalist business roles, people can figure out.
Yeah. The most successful people who I've met in my life, like understand the holistic, like how the whole machine operates, how the business operates as a whole. They're not like, and I felt like I was so heads down in my one function. I didn't really like lift my head up to be like, this is how the organization works. These are the people I need to know.
Right.
And that's like a very good skill to have.
That's one of the things I did love about sales and why I think sales is super important, because you're interfacing with accounting and legal,
sales engineers,
and product. Sales engineer. Yeah, exactly. Like you get to see all the pieces of the business. You don't necessarily get to affect them as much as most salespeople. Salespeople are all overconfident and we all think we know everything about everything, but
Totally.
it is nice to get exposed to all those different facets.
Is it ever too late to change your role or career?
I don't think so. I think a lot of changing a role is seeking happiness, and it's never too late to go try to be happy. Right? If you're not growing, if you wake up every day miserable and you're like, this is just not, I'm not feeling fulfilled, I can't find any joy in anything I'm doing, then it's time to look elsewhere.
Yeah.
Whether that's going from tech to a bakery or going from sales to marketing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just don't believe it's ever too late. And again, a smart, resourceful person will figure it out.
Yeah. I like that answer. I kind of was like, maybe there is a time in your life where you're not willing to start over again.
And that's also true. I mean, you have to weigh it, right?
You have to weigh it. Yeah.
I mean,
I think you even faced as like kind of an older SDR because you played baseball a bit out of college, right?
I was 2 years older than most people there.
Yeah. And like that 2 years, I mean, you even had like a little pride thing, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I was like, I was on this team of folks who were older, and 2 years in the grand scheme of life is nothing.
Nothing.
So
Nothing.
It's like I kind of frame it like if we went to college at the same time or we like overlapped during college or high school, like we're the same age. It doesn't really matter. But I did have that sort of feeling. I also knew at the same time if I had come in and been an SDR right out of school, I was not mature enough. I wasn't mature enough and ready for the corporate world.
Yeah.
For me coming out of school.
I'm picturing like someone like my dad being like, I want to be in sales. It's like, I don't think he's ready to be an SDR. So like maybe there is a time constraint on when you can.
I mean, you know, everybody is different, but I agree. Like you have to make the choice. I think you mentioned this. Oftentimes you step back.
Yeah.
To do it, you got to step back.
You definitely have to step back.
You know, and that's just the reality. Not always, but that is overwhelmingly the reality. And if you can swallow your pride, I would say your happiness will outweigh your pride in the end.
I agree.
I mean, how would you think about strategizing, jumping, pivoting?
I think always go for an internal shift if you generally like the company you're at.
Yeah.
So like starting there, like if it's the business function that you're not happy with, but you're like, I like the people, I like the mission. It's so much easier to pivot internally and message someone on Slack versus on LinkedIn, and you're on the company systems and you're ready to go. Like that would be my first piece of advice for like a shift, just to see if you even like it.
Yeah.
And then you still have your team to fall back on, right? It's almost like a test.
And you've got your allies there. Like you said,
Yeah.
you've got the people, and you know, it's beneficial to have perspective from another part of the business.
Definitely.
So why wouldn't that be a smart and safer way to do it?
Yeah. My other one tip, and then I'll pivot to you, is like get certifications. When I went from Deloitte to a cybersecurity firm, I got what was called, I became a Scrum Master.
Oh, a Scrum Master.
Which we've talked about, to learn kind of like the software development life cycle and just have that on my resume and understand like, okay, yeah, she came from Deloitte, but she kind of gets how this went. It's a 2-day course. It was well worth the investment because I was able to like put that on my resume and show that I had that. So get certifications, and sometimes your company will pay for them if you really like go to your coach or your manager and you're like, I think this would help for XYZ reasons. Yeah. The company I went to work for was actually one of our clients. So I was like, oh, I want to understand the client better. And I got a lot of certifications early in my career. I had a mentor tell me that, and I think that really helped just put something on the resume.
Love a good cert.
And now you can do them all remotely. I mean, like, why not?
Yeah, I always saw Scrum Master on people's profiles, and I was
the role of a Scrum Master is so funny to me. Like, I don't even understand what the point is. It's basically someone to just sit on their ass and oversee that everyone else is working.
I could do that.
To all the Scrum Masters out there, I love you, and I'm sorry. And I technically am one of you, I guess, certified.
Well, you're canceled.
But I'm
Scrum
canceled.
Master community is going to rise up.
The Scrum Master community is coming for me so hard. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, they'd have to leave their basements. I'm sorry. It's a joke. You guys leave your basements all the time.
What are your tips for pivoting? Maybe for like breaking into tech, we'll focus for you.
Yeah, I think every career pivot and every job search should be treated like a sales role. It's like prospecting. It's doing as much research as you can. I mean, this is nothing that anybody listening on here doesn't already know, but I would always reach out directly to people on LinkedIn. I would send them a message, use kind of the sales, find some pieces of who they are and what they're about that have nothing to do with the job, and then be like, hey, I'm looking to try and potentially pivot into this role, into this company. If you're open to chatting, I'd love to buy you coffee, this, that. Give a little bit. Not everybody wants to do that. Not everybody's going to say yes. A lot of times you'll get ignored. But tech is one of those things where you need to show how proactive you are.
Yeah.
Like just throwing up your resume in like any, pick a job site. That rarely works by itself. You put it in the job site, but then you network around those folks and be like, hey, I put my resume in there. thoughts. And there's like, oh, well, let me reach out to the recruiter. Let me reach out to the hiring manager and go from there. And so tech in and of itself becomes very insular.
Yeah.
And it's tough to break in, but once you're in, and you can jump around to different industries, different products.
And I think we're super exposed to tech being here in San Francisco. Like I remember at my Notre Dame job fair, like there was zero tech representation.
Yeah.
There was one person in my entire class who went to Google, which is like crazy. You talk to like our Stanford friends or people here. It's like, that is just, everyone goes there. And so tech felt very foreign. Like I was like, oh, I'm obviously going to Deloitte. That's the only option. So it's interesting when we hear from people who are maybe not in Silicon Valley or New York, I would say, or maybe Austin has like a thriving tech community. Everywhere has tech, but in these other places in the country or even the world, asking for our advice on breaking into tech, I think that's a challenging question to answer.
It is. And it's finding that one person who will give you the shot.
Totally.
Tech is very much a bubble in a lot of ways. And obviously our perspectives are framed from tech. And it's funny that you're like, my one option is consulting and my one option was like sales.
Totally.
And that's
why I got that certification, because I was like, I don't have any exposure to this and I know nothing. So I think having a little thing on your resume that is like technical,
yep.
As someone, you and I are obviously so non-technical, such technical people, despite my IT management degree.
Well, it took me almost 18 months to get a job in tech.
Yeah.
I had finished baseball. Like I was looking for a job full time. I was living with my parents. They were like, what the hell are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Just show up, and hand out your resume on the street corner. I'm like, it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. It doesn't.
Pops.
It
Sorry,
doesn't.
Pops. And so it took me so long. It took me so many interviews. Like you mentioned, Salesforce, what's up? Turned me down in 2013 for an SDR job because I didn't have any tech experience. And I was like, this is an entry level role. How doesn't make sense. So I did all the Salesforce rejects, and I ended up at Oracle.
Totally.
With all the rest of the just heathens.
That's great.
It was a long ride. I mean, and my recruiting process at Oracle was almost a full year. They said yes. They gave me a verbal. I went through this 3 or 4 step interview process. They're like, yeah, cool, you're in.
And then
offer
you could be out the next, yeah.
The offer just never showed up. Months checking in. Oh yeah, it's still in process. Oh yeah, we're working on it. It's no joke. It took a year for that offer to finally come in.
Really?
A full ass year.
I know. We have a lot of people in our DMs actually saying similar things just now with how slow things are going.
Things just haven't changed all that much.
On the tech vein, and then we'll shift, but is there anyone who should not go into tech or tech sales?
I mean, look, tech is going through a massive reckoning right now. It is the glory days, the golden era of tech is most likely over. You're seeing this kind of new age version of it in AI, which is still tech, but tech got to a place that was so bloated, so overscaled, so outrageously overvalued that this sort of shaking of the tree has had to happen. And while tech isn't going anywhere, tech is fine. It's a really tough time to get in. Mm-hmm. So if you are trying to, in a lot of ways, not lower your standards isn't the right word, but don't be as picky. It's like, just get in, get that first role, find a way. And, like I said, you're in, but tech does have a lot of entitlement built into it. It had a lot of this arrogance, all formed from the overvalued, the fun work life, balance style things, all the shit you saw in the show.
Bean bags,
the taps,
totally playing ping pong in the office with all your buddies, living in the basement.
And the reality is, you got to work and you got to get things done, and a lot of it is remote, and that becomes a lot harder. Mm-hmm. I personally would rather be around people at least 3 days a week just to learn, especially when I'm early in my career. So it's not perfect. Tech is so far from perfect. It's not quite the golden handcuffs that it used to be.
Yeah.
It's still amazing. It's still not going anywhere, but it's just not up on the pedestal, and rightfully so.
That's good. Good advice. Very true. Side hustle to full hustle, kind of outside of tech. We all have our side projects. We all have things we're passionate about.
You made keychains.
I made bohemian style jewelry. Bohemian style jewelry. I've always had a side hustle.
Yeah.
How do you know when to make that your full-time thing? I get to ask this a lot. What are those signs and those signals to know?
Yeah. What would you say?
I would say ensure it's lucrative.
Yeah.
Make sure it's a side hustle, not a side passion.
Yep.
Even with the Silicon Valley, let's leave and start a company mentality. That still exists now of let's leave the job and pursue anything. And I'm so happy that I made that jump, but I made that jump very intentionally. Mm-hmm. And it was really thought out, because I don't want to eat ramen for months at a time and have to sacrifice these things. And I was so thankful to my full-time job that I had benefits, and all these cushy offerings. And so not having that anymore, you do have to think about, and you have to think through of like, you get this remote, all these perks, like just take that off the table entirely.
Yep.
I would say
insurance, all that.
Yeah, like ensure you have like a 3-month financial cushion, and 3 is low. Like my friends have been searching for jobs for a really long time.
Yep.
So if you're leaving something that's like decently good, really be intentional about that.
Yep.
This is like kind of a technical one, but like open a separate bank account, a high yield savings account for your taxes, and just put 50% of your income into there and just say bye to it.
Yeah.
But for us Californians.
Yeah.
If you're in Florida, ignore that tip.
Yeah. Ignore it. Yeah. We out here paying taxes though.
But like if especially I'm considering side hustle as things like maybe more so in like the gig economy or like, contractor work, like things that are less full-time salary, like you're getting the same paycheck every 2 weeks.
Right.
And so just my tip would be, as you're getting these inconsistent streams of income, view it as less than it is. Don't view the check at face value.
Yep. 100%. For me, I would tell you, I agree with pretty much everything you said. It's really just it's a risk analysis, right? It is about having runway. It is about having the space and time to do what you need to do. You're not going to, most of the time, for me at least, I waited until I was making enough money to make the jump.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people would say, well, if you're doing
you
two
have
things,
to take the risk. Yeah.
right. It's like, I can do 2 things at 70%, or I can do 1 thing at 100% and go all in. And there's something to be said for that. Like if you're starting a company, but those are same folks who are in a position of privilege to not get paid for a while.
Yeah.
And so that's the biggest thing for me is just, how long can you live if it doesn't work out?
Totally.
And you mentioned that it's about having the 3-month runway. I would say it's a year. I would give yourself a year. You don't want to be stressed if other random shit comes up. Like, I think there's a lot of ways to keep it your side hustle for a long time and then make that jump. But again, I took probably the most conservative route.
Definitely.
So yeah, I don't have much to add on to yours. I think those are I think those are perfect.
Love it. Okay. Should we transition into our lovely segment called Dear Demoted?
Dear Demoted, which is where listeners send us emails with questions.
Yeah.
And we're going to read them out loud. These emails that were sent to us by listeners.
Of course. Asking for our advice.
And we appreciate all of you. And as always, you can send us emails to contact@demotedpodcast.com. Yeah, we have the URL, or we have the domain now. I'll read this one because they mention you. All right. Hi, guys. I know this is a little more specific to Natalie, but it could be expanded to both sales and consulting. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts on exit opportunities. I, unfortunately, decided to go to the Big Four consulting route straight out of college, and unsurprisingly, it's not for me. I'm looking into next steps, about to hit my 2-year mark, and since no one has been promoted in the last 2 cycles, it's not looking good for me, even though a partner agreed to sign off on my case for promotion at the end of the 1.5 year mark. I do not see myself at the higher ranks in consulting world, and I know I need to get out. I have developed on all the classic consulting soft skills, and I'm wondering what I'm even qualified for. I was a math major and have previous internship experience in data science. I hated that too. I worked as a personal trainer in college and was a gymnast my whole life. I think if I was working for a company in the health and wellness space, maybe I'd be a bit more passionate about the work, even if it was boring. Thoughts and advice, willing to share my resume as well.
A lot to unpack here. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
As a Big Four girly myself, I think this shift is very hard, especially if you want to go into the small health and wellness space compared to this like big consulting, arena. I think the easiest route is go to a client. That's what I did. Mm-hmm. You're exposed to a bunch of different companies every day on these different projects. Do you like any of them? Do you like the people at the companies? Do you like the culture? That would be an easy pivot because you have that exposure and you have that in. The next route would be, I think you should play up your STEM. Like, despite hating it, you need to play that up to just get your foot in the door.
Yep.
Like, that was what I did with my major. Honestly, IT management, you think I like that? No.
What?
But I played it up to get this job that I wanted because I know that that's what people look for now.
Yeah.
And then the last, I would say, get certifications in the space to try to pivot, to show you have, that evidence and that proof. Yeah. What would you say? I mean, I think that pivot is very difficult. Like, that's a huge jump. It's like not necessarily, I'm assuming her clients aren't in this space.
Right. I was going to say, is there somewhere internally, is, whatever Big Four she's at, doing anything with health and wellness companies? Is there something there? Yeah. I mean, I think it's, again, assessing what do you like about that world? Why does that world fire you up? I mean, again, like if you like health and wellness because you like working out, you're not necessarily going to like working at a health and wellness startup.
Totally.
You're not necessarily working. Maybe they have the, perks and things around working out and it's an active, company, which could be great. It's probably better than staying in Big Four consulting, but it's also finding ways to scratch that itch outside the role while it takes time to make that move.
Yeah.
I agree. It's all about the story. It's all about how you take the different pieces of your life, tell a compelling story, get in somewhere, and then that all falls apart and you're there now and you do whatever you want.
Yeah. And what do you like about what you do? Like, I loved building decks, and I think that translated very well into marketing. Wow. I love it.
Wow.
I'm a deck master.
Wow.
I still build decks now.
Wow.
No one is asking for the post-mortem of how the project went. We're building them.
We're building a deck. I could not be further from deck building.
And I think that translated into marketing. Like, I like to beautifully present something. Yeah. I don't necessarily like to be in the data of it.
Right.
But I'll make that table look nice.
Right. I mean, to answer the question of like, what are you even qualified for? Luckily, you're qualified for a lot.
Yeah.
Coming out of consulting. I mean, this is like the joke in business school and the joke, at least for us in sales. It's like people would come out of consulting and be put in these executive roles. And we're like, how the hell are you in an executive role? You've never operated once in your life.
People
You've sat there
love
with your
consulting.
Yeah. You've been consulting on something that you've never done. So
Totally.
What the fuck is going on? So in that sense, a lot of like consulting folks leave and go to startups and get business ops, revenue ops roles, strategy roles in startups, which could be super, super fun. So I actually think coming out of consulting, you're not limited.
I agree.
All.
I wouldn't downplay the power of that card.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it was helpful for me. What's the next one? Can you read it?
Okay. So this starts with good morning, which I say good morning to you as well. Thank you for the new episode this morning. I listened to it on my 1 hour commute into the office. Question from the promoted demoted segment that is sort of office politics related. If you're in a job, but job searching, what are your thoughts on liking or commenting on posts from HR/resume professionals? I follow a gentleman who gives amazing resume and job seeking advice, but I don't want to like the posts because of the fear that my employer will see it.
That's interesting. I feel like people think that about our videos too.
Oh yeah. Everyone messages me on LinkedIn. They're like, I can't let my employer see
like
this.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't like it. Like, do it, coward. Do it.
Do it. I mean, who cares about what you're liking, right? Unless it's like some horrible thing on Twitter.
Yeah, I don't think liking resume and job advice is a bad thing. I think it just makes you a working professional. You're like, this is good advice. Doesn't necessarily mean you're looking.
I also think this is a huge example of like, no one is watching you.
That's also true.
If someone's stalking what you're liking, you must have leverage because they don't want you to leave.
Yeah, you know who's not spending much time on LinkedIn? Executives.
Exactly.
Like, they're really not.
They're really not. So give it a like. Give us a like. Give them a like.
They're just throwing likes around. We'll give you a like. I don't know.
I will throw one back.
Likes for likes. I was back in the Vine days.
I kind of like likes for likes. I'm pro that.
Yeah, I wouldn't sweat it too much, especially for someone who, like this is a reference to Adam Karpiak, who does a lot of really interesting, good, useful kind of recruiting talent content. So, I mean, he's out there. He's, doing... giving out useful content. So I would say give them a like. Like that's kind of the currency.
Yeah. And I don't think like seeing that you've liked it in my mind as your like boss would be like, oh God, he's looking. It's like, he's just like viewing good quality content on LinkedIn.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to put your open to work button on,
that's
a
little
LinkedIn,
different. That's a little different.
And I can see that you're open to a new role. I might be a little bit worried about that, but I don't think liking or commenting on something on LinkedIn. And I also think the culture around that is changing on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is becoming much more of a content platform for better or worse. And everyone's like, oh, it's Facebook now, blah, blah, blah. Yes. Social media sucks in a lot of ways.
Totally.
But I think the culture of LinkedIn is just changing.
I agree. Let's pivot into
promoted, demoted.
Promoted or demoted. Da-na-na. I love this segment.
It's the best.
It's the best. It's the easiest. We just get to say, do we like it or do we not like it?
Yeah, and why? We get to have hot takes, then people on the internet get to try to cancel us for our takes.
Totally. We get to have an opinion, and that is not allowed.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have opinions anymore?
Nope, but we're going to try. We're going to try to have an opinion.
Right now, we are enemy number one to the skiing community. That's a tough one for us to take, but we're gonna have to just live with the bed that we made.
Context on that, I said I hated skiing. If you listened to episode 2, or I don't know.
And she literally goes, hate them because I ain't them, and they're like, yeah, because you don't shred. It's like, no,
and now we have like professional alpine skiers being like, stay off the mountain.
Yeah.
Bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're just like, wow, these guys.
I'm like, how does that clip resurface? It's been so long.
I don't know.
But all right. Well, for all the skiers listening to this, thinking about career shifts, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, don't even worry about us being on the mountain because we're not there.
We're not there. We're in these beanbags. We're at the bottom.
Yeah.
We're good.
We're drinking.
All right. Promoted or demoted? Job hopping.
Okay. I'm going to take maybe a controversial stance. I'm going to promote it. And here's why.
Okay.
Because in this new day and age, it is so hard to get paid what you're worth. oftentimes the best route is to jump, is to go somewhere else. And
My
get
friends
that
who
next
make the most money are constantly switching jobs.
And that's what you got to do. That's the reality. I mean, like loyalty.
I'm like, you're making so much money and you're 26. Like, how did you do this?
Well, company loyalty, like why have company loyalty when they could lay you off for no fucking reason at all at any point?
Totally.
Like you can be loyal to people again, and that's fine. You should work for people who are good people, and you don't want to be that person who burns bridges for no reason. But I think job hopping, if you're blocked from a promotion and you can get the promotion and get the raise elsewhere, do it. Absolutely do it.
Especially if you're getting a little equity, you can kind of like
equity.
accumulate that sweet equity on your way out. Ooh.
10 years later, might buy yourself a little.
I had to give up some equity when I left the tech company I was working at. It had like a 4-year cliff.
4-year
Is that
vest.
what it's called?
Yeah, so you
vest.
have 1 year cliff, 4-year vest.
Yeah, 1 year. So I got like half of it.
Yeah. And for those out there, what that means basically, that's like a very standard tech term. The cliff means if you leave before your first year, you will get no equity.
Yep. So I left that. Company's doing amazing. So that would have been nice.
Yeah.
Promoted or demoted, double dipping, i.e. having 2 full-time salaried positions.
Wow.
This is like, when I have one friend who does this. He doesn't sleep. He's
I was going to say thriving?
psycho.
Surviving?
Making so
Dying.
much money.
Yeah.
But also like breaking so many rules.
Yeah.
The stress would keep me up at night.
Yeah, it's like living a double life, right? Because neither
How do you
company
get
can
2
know.
W-2s?
I mean, you technically can, but
can.
the problem is, there's nothing illegal about 2 W-2s, but a lot of companies say you can't have 2 W-2s.
And you just forego like the 401k benefits at one because you can't contribute twice.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly, because that'll be attached to your like social security. So
Yeah.
you can you could split it in theory.
Okay.
But you can only contribute up to a certain amount.
I just think there's no way you're giving 100 because
There's
that would
no
be
way.
humanly impossible.
There's no way. Are you promoting or demoting?
I kind of like what my friend does, honestly. And he's
It's kinda
super
sick.
technical, so he's able to just like be up at night and like finish the code for one of them.
He's got an Adderall addiction. He's good.
He's so good.
He's so good. Okay.
I'm gonna for mental health reasons demote.
Yeah. I am going to, man.
If I was a coder, I would promote this
Yeah.
because I think there are ways to, if you're just really efficient.
If you can do it, I'll promote it, but like very few people can do it, and it's a high risk proposition, and you'll probably burn some bridges when someone catches on. And I mean, in theory, there's a lot of jobs. Well, are there a lot of jobs right now? I don't know. There's a lot of places to work out there that aren't going to know who each other are, and like it's not like you're being blacklisted from the entire work world.
Maybe I'll promote a full-time and a part-time.
Sure.
A full-time and a full-time, I'm gonna have to demote.
Full-time side hussy.
Come on.
Why not?
Yeah.
Okay. Promoted, demoted. Fake it till you make it.
I say it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm 26 sitting in this beanbag giving work advice.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Come on. I mean,
Right?
living
Like,
proof.
Please fake it till you make it.
Yeah,
Obviously.
I agree. Fake it till you make it, and then you fake it till you become it.
Totally.
Right.
Promoted.
Promoted.
Asking for help.
Lame.
Horrible.
Ugh.
I can't believe like that's
Sheesh.
on this list. Like, thank you, Talon. Asking for help.
Asking for help. How'd you think of that one, Talon?
Like, imagine us being like demoted.
Yeah, demoted. That's soft.
Please. He's trying to recancel
Figure
us,
it
I
out.
think.
Yeah.
You have to ask for help.
Asking for
Asking questions, especially when you're early in your career, you
Promote.
have to. You
Promote.
have to. Come on,
Promote.
promoted.
dummies.
Ooh, this is exciting. What do you think about this?
Promoted, demoted.
Having business cards.
Oh man. I'm gonna promote it.
I just got Annie business cards and I love them.
Yeah, there's no reason to not have. I mean, it's kind of a joke.
If you're
because-
fully remote, please do not waste money on a business card.
yeah, I have been asked recently, and I haven't had them.
We go to conferences. I've been
Yeah.
asked too. I think it's
Yeah.
really important to give someone your business card.
Yeah,
With the old heads, as you would
the
say.
old heads, they love a good crispy business card.
Like, right? I was just
Yeah.
in, I was skiing. Oh God.
Oh God,
I'm sorry, everyone.
she hates skiing, but she does it a lot.
I do it a lot. I'm getting better. I was in the opera lodge, and we were talking to this guy who was like really well connected in the Silicon Valley space, and I was like, he's like, I'd love to get your business card. I'm like, don't have that on my ski
How about
suit.
a firm handshake?
Yeah, how does that sound? let's shake on it. Is that good?
Maybe we should do a blood pact or something. Yeah,
Totally.
Here's my LinkedIn.
I'm gonna promote having
I'm gonna
business
promote
cards.
it too. Just a good thing to have, just in case.
Yeah.
All right, promoted, demoted, lying on your resume.
Lying is different than embellishing.
Yes, thank
Right?
you. That's the important thing
Right?
here.
I think
Yeah.
being so completely 100% honest, you're hurting yourself a little bit. Is that a
Yeah.
hot take?
No, I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's what everybody does.
Everybody's doing it. Like
Everybody's doing it.
Like for example, like you say, worked on presentations, worked on decks.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I did. How I write it is like enabled the strategy of multiple Fortune 500 companies
Right.
via the use of Microsoft PowerPoint
Right.
decks. Like whatever, but
Right.
you have to embellish a little bit.
Totally. Absolutely. And I think that's a perfect example.
Right.
Promote.
I'm
going to promote.
Promoting lying on your resume.
I'm promoting embellishing on your resume.
Promoting embellishing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Promoted, demoted. Oh, fuck you, Talon.
Promoted or demoted, the sales to marketing career move.
I mean, look. Fuck. If you can go out and say, look, sales wasn't for me. It's too hard. I respect salespeople because they're the best and it's the best skill you can have, but I'm too soft and I'm going to go into marketing. I can live with that. And I can live with someone recognizing that they just can't do sales.
You did it. So why don't you shut your mouth? I love marketing.
Why don't I shut my whore mouth?
I love marketing to all the marketing people listening.
I love marketing. I love good marketing. But B2B marketing is its own beast, and I have many issues with that.
I do have some qualms with that.
So sales to marketing career move. I'm going to promote it if that's what's best for you.
I'm going to promote it as well.
God, soft. I'm getting softer every day. Promoted, demoted, life coaches.
I mean, I'll promote it if you need it.
Promote it if you need it. Yeah, I think there's a lot of benefits to. I know a lot of executives with executive coaches, and I think it blends into life coaches. I think my issue with life coaches is there's a lot of people who are not qualified to be life coaches, who are just like, I'm going to go into the life coach world. Like,
I have a couple of friends with trying to make career pivots that are like these kind of like career specific or specifically, honestly, for sales. Making that, I think that's helpful to get a little outside take, especially if you're shifting industries.
Sure, I just think it's like a lot of people without experience doing something in life, giving life advice.
Us with a podcast, for example. Yes, I struggle with life coach, like calling it a life coach. I don't know. I struggle a little bit with it. I'm going to promote it, like you said, if you need it, but not for me. Yeah.
Demoted for me personally.
Okay, I'll take that. Promoted or demoted, headshots attached to your resume.
Ooh, we talking about bias now. We talk about bias.
I love putting my headshot.
You got good headshots. I would say it is, assuming you have a decent headshot, it's probably not a bad thing. It gives a human element. I just want to put my smiling
face up in the corner and know, like, you're getting a fun gal.
You're getting a fun-loving gal who's just ready to work hard.
And like with my virtual assistant company, because it's like so remote and you're working like directly with creators, you often have their like logins to their Instagrams. Like I say, throw a photo on so that they see like you're just a normal person. Like, I don't know.
I hope you guys don't mind if I sit crisscross applesauce for the rest of this
applesauce.
pod.
Is saying attaching a headshot, is that a horrible thing?
No, I don't think so. But it is kind of a joke in sales to be like the people who put their headshot at the bottom of their LinkedIn or their email signature.
Yeah. Oh, that's so annoying. I hate that.
It's like,
I don't need to see you.
Chill out, little Johnny.
Totally.
Chill out, little Johnny.
Johnny, experienced sales rep.
Business development. Revenue driving professional.
Yeah, no, not in your email signature. I will demote that so hard. But your resume, if it's allowed, sometimes it's not allowed in certain states. Honestly, I think California might have some rules against that.
Yeah, it definitely is influential.
Yeah. So I would say if it's allowed, do it if you want to.
Yeah.
You got some good headshots, promoted. And lastly, promoted or demoted LinkedIn endorsements.
LinkedIn endorsements, demoted. Those don't do anything. Nobody. I mean, look, I got 47 endorsements for Microsoft Word.
Yeah.
Am I bragging about it?
Did I ask my friends respectfully to endorse me for those things? Yes, I did ask my good friends.
Yeah. Was there a period of time where people were making up endorsements for me that were all alluding to my heavy pot smoking? Yeah.
Of course.
Herbal essences, botany,
Botany. Yeah. I'm crying.
Weed burning. I had to remove those. Those were on there for a while.
Wait, that's so funny. So you can add an endorsement for someone you don't know?
You used to be able to, and they have to accept it.
Because mine are like, you add your 6 core things and people can just either like it or not.
Yeah, they may have changed it, but there was a time where you could just basically create a little hashtag, like a little I don't know, hashtag endorsements.
Botany. Please.
Botany.
Promoting botany.
Big botanist.
Botany endorsements.
Only
that's hilarious. Okay.
That's promoted, demoted.
That's promoted or demoted. We are going to do some role play. If you've seen us shift positions like 45 times, it's because we've had to get up.
It's because of our backs.
I just kicked Ross's mic off. Like, it's just things aren't doing
we're not doing great.
We're not doing really well. But we will do really poorly.
Yeah.
Are these role plays?
Yes.
Basically what role play means is our producer Talon has written like a few scenarios.
Yeah, you wrote some scenarios for us and they're like 1-sentence scenarios and we're just going to roll tide and see what happens.
We're just going to see what happens.
All right. So the first one, would you like to read it?
This role play, Becky the Biz Bitch. Thank you, Talon. Me, a TikTok influencer, randomly interviews Siegfried Ross on the street about his job and salary. Siegfried confesses to a heinous crime.
Perfect.
Okay.
I'm going to go with my Seth voice on this one.
All right. Welcome back to Biz Bitch with me, the Biz Bitch. I'm here on the street with Siegfried, who I just ran into, and I am so excited to introduce you to Sig. Sig, hi.
Hi. Yeah, you just kind of walked up to me.
Okay. He is so full of joy, so fun. Thank you for being with us, Sig. Is it okay if I call you Sig?
Not really, but it doesn't sound like you're going to stop.
Okay. He seems like a bundle of joy, and I'm so excited to ask him these questions. So, Sig, where do you work?
I'm actually self-employed. I run a very lucrative self-employed business.
Okay. Self-employed. What was that?
I employ myself to carry out jobs.
Self-employed jobs. Okay. That's awesome. And how much do you make?
On a good year, I make upwards of $1.6 billion.
Okay, that's awesome. Can I work for you?
We're not hiring.
Okay.
Right now.
And what's something that you've never told anyone that you want to tell the camera?
Well, in my line of work, it's important to kill it every day.
Kill it every day. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that means for the TikTok viewers at home?
Yeah, sure. So people hire me, and I have to go in there and just kill it. You know what I mean?
Totally. I totally get that. Kill it, smash it, slay it. I like to say that all the time. What does
Right.
like a typical day look like for you?
Well, it depends on the job, right? There's a lot of planning that goes into it because when you kill it as hard as I do, you don't want to get caught, but you do want to execute. So
What does not getting caught mean? That sounds so crazy. It sounds like you're doing something bad.
well, it's just doing my job. Everybody's got a job to do, and mine just happens to be murdering people to death.
Oh my God.
So you asked earlier. I actually am looking for an executive assistant who knows how to
Okay.
who's good with plastic.
Can we get the can we turn the camera off? Let's turn the camera off. Thank you,
You're my
Sig.
next victim.
Scene.
Scene.
Okay.
That was pretty good.
That was fun.
I didn't hate that.
So that was a little role play.
Hope you guys
For better or
were
for
as
worse.
uncomfortable as I was, because I was incredibly uncomfortable.
We also had a live audience, which was kind of tough.
That was
but
super tough.
Yeah, here we are. As always, like, comment, subscribe.
Yep.
Smash that subscribe button if you haven't
Send
already.
us any of your workplace commentary, questions, concerns to contact@demotedpodcast.com.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode on career shifts. And as always, tune in next week on Demoted.